Greetings.
So I'm back, Master Blacksmith.
Excellent. How did it go with the hermit?
He's dead.
What? Did you?
No, not me. It just got a bit complicated. Anyway, it turns out old Ambrose really used to be a knight. And this really is Toledo steel. You were right, Blacksmith.
God's nails. That's quite something.
First class welded steel. Ambrose must have broken the sword himself, deliberately. It wouldn't have just happened in battle.
That's exactly what we need. See now, youngster. My clever plan worked out nicely in the end.
Right. Well, thank you very much for your, clever plan.
You haven't disappointed me yet, lad. So I'm sure forging an exceptional sword won't be a problem for you either.
Wait, I thought you wanted to do it yourself. I'm just your assistant, after all.
Not at all. I trust you. One day you'll become a master. That is, unless you lose your head first.
Burning.
You have a kind master, eh, Soggy?
Good day to you. bit more, and I'll be done. Now I just have to temper it.
You have a kind master, eh, mutt?
I've got something for you, blacksmith.
God's nails, you weren't bullshitting.
I'd say it looks pretty much like a sword, eh?
Looks like. This is a damned fine piece of steel. Damned fine.
Thanks. I was glad to help, but now there's something I need from you.
I'll pay you, of course. And if you want to do some smithing, I won't throw you out of my forge either.
No, you know full well what I need. I have to get to Samin's wedding.
Why is it so important for you? It'll just be a lot of people stuffing their faces. You can find that anywhere.
I have my reasons, and you don't need to know them.
God's nails, lad. You're full of mysteries. But whatever, that's your business. I don't mind taking you to the wedding. Nothing to it. We can set off once you're ready.
I'd like to learn something.
What are you interested in?
Show me what you can do with a hammer.
All right, I'll show you something. But you need time for it.
Get out of here, mutt. Sod off. That's more like it.
Sit
Mutt.
and stay.
God be with you. Keep the peace, and we'll stay friends.
Ah, damn! The offer of Hermes Trismegistos. That's Krazel's document.
Christ, pardon me.
Good morning to you.
I have that document from the rat house for you.
Excellent. I knew I could count on you.
I even managed to get my hands on the key to the chest with the confiscated things.
Very good. Give that to me too.
Well, I thought it might come in handy.
Come on. Give it here.
Fine. Here it is. I took a look at the document. I couldn't really make much of it. Who's this Hermes Trismegistos?
My fifth cousin. We write to each other sometimes.
That doesn't sound very convincing.
Did you find my family tree at the rat house too? Now show it to me, so I can finally get the knowledge. Good. Good. This will come in handy. Ah, yes. Of course.
What now?
That much? Gonna need more. A lot more.
Did you hear me? What now?
Sorry. I got lost in thought. I owe you my thanks as well as reward for getting me the document. And maybe another little job? What do you say?
Don't tell me you've forgotten. I need to get to that wedding in Semi.
Don't worry. Your path is leading that way. Only it'll be a little longer than expected.
You promised you'd get me into that wedding.
I did, but I didn't say when. Besides, things are about to get really interesting. Step by step, we're moving closer to the great revelation.
Enough. I'm sick of listening to your cryptic blabbering. Supposing you first initiate me into the mysteries of your enchanting mill. This isn't any run-of-the-mill business, so to speak. I smell something devilish here.
Devilish? Not at all. It's high learning. Alchemy! And when I say alchemy, I mean real alchemy. Not some hocus-pocus brewing of potions for creaky joints and bellyache.
Tell me more about it then. Maybe I'll learn something useful.
I wouldn't be so sure, but I've taken you on as an apprentice, so I might as well tell you something. Now, pay close attention. I want to make a golem out of dough. Then, using secret alchemical practices in theurgy, bring him to life.
A golem, you say? Isn't that a kind of pie? What are you going to do with a living pie?
Henry, a golem is a helper brought to life using divine words. A living statue endowed with massive strength. Can be made of clay, wood, stone, basically anything. I'll make one out of flour. Studying the Jewish Kabbals taught me a practice known as Maseh Bereshit. A mystic can use it to imitate the work of God. Just imagine. You know how helpful a golem would be at the mill? Carrying sacks, pulling wagons, standing guard. He wouldn't be much smarter than Zinnik, but he'd have the strength of 10 men.
My word. That sounds incredible. I have to see it.
So far, it's just all in my head. But if you're patient and help me, you'll see soon enough. It's in the interest of the advancement and prosperity of mankind. Just look at the Bible. Moses could command the waters and speak to God through the element of fire. Jesus brought the dead back to life. I've no doubt that if our great holy Mother Church had been around at the time, they'd have crucified Jesus the same as the Pharisees. All the apostles would have been burned at the stake.
So a golem you say, made of flour. For the good of mankind.
Exactly!
And what about the good of me? You promised me a reward.
You already know that you can learn the practical application of certain useful skills from me. But for a few groschen, we could discuss the art on a more, let's say, theoretical level.
I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. Supposing you give me a few groschen first, as a reward for bringing you the document, and then I'll decide whether to trade the coin for some learning.
Oh, see now? I completely forgot. Here you go. So you don't go around saying that Miller Crazel is a pinch purse. I added in what I owe for those sacks you carried. And if you want some more work, there's plenty.
What's this next job all about?
I need to find a saltpeter pit.
Never a wasted word, eh, Crazel?
Short and to the point. That's my credo.
And how long will it take before you tell me what a saltpeter pit is?
A saltpeter pit is a pit in which saltpeter is formed.
This has something to do with that alchemy of yours, eh? I don't know much about that stuff.
Nitra is saltpeter. White crystals similar to salt.
And what needs salting here in the mill? Or is it supposed to be some peculiar Crazel wedding gift for a young semi?
Nothing of the sort. The Kabbalistic doctrine speaks of saltpeter as a vessel for the inexhaustible essence of life. Those white crystals are said to contain the very essence of being. That's precisely what we need to give life to our golem. Thanks to the ingredients from Hermes Trismegistos, his feet will never get tired and his fists will have the power to smash rocks. But saltpeter is the most important thing. Saltpeter will be the golem's heart.
So you're serious about this golem? And are you certain it'll work out?
Certainly. Otherwise, I wouldn't even try.
How much saltpeter will it take to bring to life such a big creature?
A lot. That's why I want you to find me a decent saltpeter pit. Do you understand?
I was hoping I'd learn something useful from you. But instead, you're making me wander around the countryside looking for some pit.
Well, you never know when an experience like that might come in handy.
All right, then. I'll look around for that saltpeter pit of yours. I just hope you know where to look, that you can point me in the right direction, and also that you'll get me into that wedding as a reward.
Yes, yes, and yes. Bonnie has a lead. She's a damned handy girl to have around. She can do anything you ask of her. But for you, the most important thing is that she knows how to look for niter, or saltpeter if you prefer.
So this Bonnie is some kind of witch who's in on this golem stuff.
Bonnie is someone I trust without question, and you should too. Not only will she teach you how to find saltpeter, but also how to differentiate it from common salt. The main difference is it has kind of cooling taste.
Hold your horses. You want me to taste that nasty stuff?
If you don't taste it, you could confuse it with some nasty rot. You don't want that.
Damn right.
Don't be such a lily liver, Henry. If Bonnie can taste saltpeter, so can you. She'll tell you the rest herself. You'll find her in the lair. That's a secret storage space I have here just by the pond. Only my best people can get in.
How can I get to this lair?
There's a bridge over the mill stream towards the southwest. Take the path to the left, just behind it along the pond. From that path, you turn right, uphill, between the rocks, and you'll find yourself right in front of the lair. You can't miss it. Oh, and so I don't forget, you could pick some herbs along the way to see Bonnie. It would make her very happy. She's just been through some tough times. Her dog died, and on top of that, she has to spend time with that blabbermouth, Zinnik. On the other hand, Zinnik might be holding his tongue for a while after his encounter with the Troskowitz stocks.
If Bonnie spends time with Zinnik, she may want some spirits rather than herbs.
Bonnie? Never. Being a decent Christian, she avoids alcohol like the plague. Right along. So you're back as soon as possible.
So the lair. Heal. Mutt!
That mutt the Slottigo greengrocer has. My word. What a beauty.
Beauty? Don't know about that.
I'd go back for him in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't go back there if I was you. You know why?
See you later. Take care.
May God protect you.
Good morning.
Why do you work for the miller?
Well, how can I put it? Anywhere else, they'd have kicked me out by now. The miller's the last person who'd still give me a job. He says every idiot is of some use at least.
And you see that as a compliment?
I see a coin in my hand every week. That's all I care about.
What did you do before you started working for the miller?
A bit of this, a bit of that. When I was still a boy, I stirred lye at a tannery, and then I slaved away at a dye house. But since I came to the town, it's been, well, let's say not exactly honest work. But that's what I'm best at, see?
What do you think of Crazel?
Is this some kind of test or what? I can think what I want, and I keep my opinion to myself. And you ought to do the same.
Long time no see, eh?
Crazel gave you another job.
Yeah. I proved myself to him last time, so why not continue our collaboration?
Did you come here to make fun of me? Just like Bonnie? As soon as she showed up, she gave me hell over that manuscript.
No, not at all. I just need to find out something only you would know. So, Zinek, have you any experience with saltpeter?
Oh, I never want to see that shit again. I still have the taste of it in my mouth. And Bonnie and me was taking turns tasting it.
Weren't you afraid a dead soul would enter you through it?
What? What are you babbling about?
Dead souls pass time in niter crystals, don't they? That's why the miller is looking for them. To bring the golem to life.
You fool! We're looking for saltpeter to sell to butchers for salting meat. There's good coin in it.
Well, the miller told me something different.
You can't believe everything he says. A golem in the mill. He's yanking your pizzle.
You're all just trying to confuse me.
Crazel's a good teacher. You know how it is.
What can you tell me about Bonnie?
Well, you mean Cheeks or Jezebel?
Are those nicknames?
Dunger, Snowdrop, Vixen... We always come up with the stupidest names, and nobody sees through them anyway. Bonnie's been here the longest, and has the most experience. I'm surprised she still puts up with Crazel and his mad notions. And I think she likes animals more than people. When I try to talk to her about work or weather, she gets bored.
What sort of place is this?
Our secret place, where we can quietly plot sneaky plans for our beloved miller.
Behind that boarded-up door? What's inside that cliff?
You know, storage, rubbish, rats, filth. Look, I know Bonnie ordered me to clean up in there. Thanks to you, I'm sure the movement of goods will start again soon. So it'd probably be good to have some order around here. I just haven't got round to it yet.
Zinek, I have a few questions about the saltpeter pit we're looking for.
So now you need me, eh? Take care, friend. Excuse me.
Lord be with you.
I'm Henry, Miller Crazel's new apprentice. He sent me to search for a niter pit and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
Henry's fine.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Crazel said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
I'm sorry. I've got nothing for you.
I reckon I'll just have to scrape together the ingredients for that magic ritual myself.
What kind of magic ritual?
The kind where Zinek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginner's mistakes. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. Not me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did Crazel tell you about the golem?
He did.
And what do you think of it?
I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like, but I'm mostly curious to see if Crazel will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpeter.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. Get to know you a bit. But if you're in a hurry to find Crazel's saltpeter, I won't keep you.
No. I have plenty of time. But where to start?
You know what? I'll start. When they caught Zinek in Troskovitz, I was scared out of my mind that they'd catch me and clap me in the stocks. I had to hide out here for a while, so I haven't had anyone to talk to. Life in the lair isn't all fun and games. Zinek and all the other mill knuckleheads were never worth much as company. So I'm glad the miller's finally found a normal hand for once. You've got a beautiful dog. What's his name?
Mutt.
What a cute fella. How did you find each other?
He belonged to this girl I knew, Teresa. She saved my life in my hometown, Skalitz, when I went to bury my parents.
Well, That's what I call an interesting past. I used to have a dog, but I don't anymore.
He died.
He started getting these lumps all over his body. He stopped eating, just slept all the time. And then, well, what's done is done. And what about you? What kind of family are you from? Also, thieves?
I found myself following the path of the knight. My only brother now is my sword.
Oh, aye. Men these days solve all their problems in armor on the field, gouging each other's eyes out and hacking off each other's limbs. Where are the good old days when everything could be solved with a simple dagger stab or a nice strong cup of hemlock? Jesus, I sound like an old crone now, eh? And you know who else pines for the good old days? Crazel. What do you think of the old miller, anyway?
He seems awfully mystical. He has lots of experience, like as if he's lived for hundreds of years.
It's his beard that does that. Don't let it fool you. Thanks for talking to me. It really is good to have someone to pour my heart out to. But now, about that saltpeter. Before you came, and before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, we collected saltpeter all over the place, mainly in sties. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work, time-consuming and annoying. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case, you know. Anyhow, now all the sties in the region are scraped clean and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpeter.
Barrel is quite a lot.
For the whole Trotsky region, aye. Unfortunately, Crazel said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpeter pit be enough?
I reckon so. There should be as much as Crazel needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpeter forms. Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. And Crazel, of course, didn't tell me shit.
Don't forget that saltpeter crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpeter pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave. The best natural saltpeter maker.
Crazel said saltpeter is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpeter or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit full of carcasses, do you?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. Times are evil and there's plenty of corpses. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a a saltpeter mine.
The local gravedigger?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the knacker.
Well, I haven't met him yet. Where can I find him?
The cemetery is beyond Troskovitz, towards the Apollonia rocks.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun, and pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you something, if you want.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskovit's butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck, Henry. God be with you.
You have a kind master, eh? Much? Hail.
What are you here for, friend?
What do you have for sale?
Pleasure doing business. Take care.
Did I forget to ask?
Greetings, my friend.
I'm Henry. And you must be the local gravedigger, right?
Ignatius, master of the sod, at your service. Looking for a final resting place, are you? Or do you need to bury a dead goat?
I'm more interested in the grave-digging profession as a whole.
Ah, once you try it, you'll never want to do nothing else till the day you die.
You got a big cemetery here. Pretty nice, too.
Ain't it? But being the gravedigger, I'll never have a place of my own here. They'll throw me by the wall like a dog and bury me without ceremony. But when I'm dead, I won't care. If it was up to me, I'd even bury the suicides in hallowed ground. We're all equal before death and the Lord. This game of better and worse places of final rest don't count for nothing.
What's the story with the dead people?
The story? They're dead. What more is there to tell?
But you said there's been a lot of people dying around here recently, right?
Well, it ain't usual for people to get offed by the cartload out here in the sticks, if you ask me. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Hadn't really thought about it that way.
That might be the reason, then, hey?
What?
Look, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of people dying. If things keep up like this, I'll be out of work in no time. There'll be no one left to bury.
Being a gravedigger must be a lonely job, eh? What are your duties?
Funny a young lad like you is so interested in grave digging. Not something you see every day.
Well, I'm only asking. No real reason.
That figures. Youngsters these days wouldn't know hard work if it bit 'em on the arse. It's no wonder I can't find any help.
Are you offering me a job?
No. I'm giving you a warning. You ain't cut out for this trade.
And how do you know that?
You've got that look. I can spot it a mile away.
Could you be more specific?
You just aren't cut out for it, and that's that. A gravedigger needs passion. A sense of duty ain't enough. It's a service, a labour of love, and the meaning of life all in one, lad.
But seriously, Ignatius, tell me about yourself.
Gravedigger, knacker, snorter's constant companion, and lover of colourful sunsets, all in one man.
You've nearly got more titles than the Emperor himself.
Well, I have been doing it for almost 40 years now. The bailiff pays me well, in coin and sometimes in goods.
Sounds appealing.
Not all that glitters is gold, lad. A gravedigger's got it hard, and so does a knacker. I pick up dead animals on the side of the road. That's the knacker's job. You could say, I have a knack for it. That's why people say I'm unclean. If I had children, they wouldn't be allowed to marry anyone besides an executioner or a gravedigger. It's so ingrained in folk. A fella takes care of things they wouldn't want to handle themselves, and this is how they repay him. Can't even go to the tavern no more.
Have you been a gravedigger your whole life? Have you ever thought of changing your trade?
I did think about it once, if I'm honest. I wanted to be a knacker in Yitchin, but some fool with friends in high places got the job, though he can't even tell a shovel from a spade. That really pissed me off, so I said, fuck it. Why would I want to dig graves for people who don't appreciate my craft?
So you've always been here otherwise?
And what of it? Do you think I get bored here? Not recently, I don't. But I think I told you that already.
I'm not from these parts, and I've seen a few conciliation crosses around here. What do they mean?
The same as where you come from, I reckon. They mark spots where the sins of man came to be regretted later.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Aye, like when a fella buries an axe in someone's head over something stupid and then comes to regret it. Or if the law sees to it that he regrets it. The sinner then has to erect a conciliation cross to mark the site of his evil deed.
Where does he get the cross from?
Where do you think? From me.
You're in charge of that too? Stone cutting?
I know how to cut a cross out of stone. And what of it? With the soft sandstone around here, it's child's play.
So they're all your work?
I wish. I've only sold 2 or 3 recently. Most of these here are right old. You might find a few stories about them in the village chronicle, what's kept at the rat house. All I know is a young fella once jumped off the cliffs near Packhoff, and folks say the place is cursed.
Do you know any more stories?
Aye, I do, but I'm not telling you any. I'm not an old fishwife.
Unfortunately, I had to bury both my parents recently.
My condolences, lad.
Thank you. I just don't know if it was done right.
Did you witness their deaths?
Unfortunately. They were killed in front of my eyes.
I understand that's never easy. And if you closed their eyes and buried them in consecrated ground, you've nothing to worry about.
I dug their grave next to our smithy. We didn't have a church in our village.
Well, that can't be avoided sometimes. Don't let it bother you. As long as you picked the spot with good intentions, that's all that matters. I'm certain their souls went straight to heaven. You needn't worry. You did everything right, lad.
Ignatius, I'm gonna need your help.
Of course. How many are there? Where do you want to bury them? Shall we grind the teeth up, or do you want to take them away in your purse?
None of that. I have a different, slightly unusual request. Bonnie from Lower Semine sent me. We're looking for a saltpeter pit.
From Lower Semine? What pit?
A saltpeter pit.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that. What's it supposed to be? A pit to hell?
Nah, It's actually just a pit full of carcasses. These white crystals form on the walls of it. And that's exactly what we're after.
Ah, now I get it. You should have said you're looking for the pit I throw carcasses into. What's all this about Salty Peter? I'm going to go there anyway, so I'll take you there.
Really? That was easier than I thought.
Not even a chicken scratches in the dirt without hope of reward, though. You'll help me with something first. I have some collections from some Sletigo farmsteads, and I'd be a fool if I didn't use a helping hand. At least one day I can take it a bit easy.
You want me to help you with your grave digging business?
Why not? You look like a strong fella. You'll be a good helper.
I have a better idea. You tell me where I can find that pit, and I'll give you a nice piece of fresh meat for it.
I won't say no to that. Show me what you have. Oh, aye, fresh meat. What a feast that'll make. Now, listen closely. That pit of yours lies at the end of a long journey that we'll take together on my wagon.
So you got meat out of me for nothing?
When I see how much you lot in Lower Samina are interested in it, I'm not just going to hand it to you on a plate. But thanks for the meat. Don't worry about a thing. Grave digging is a job like any other. Sooner or later, everyone needs our services. And if it wasn't for us knackers, folk would have to deal with their animal carcasses themselves.
Of course. I understand. I'm just a little worried about what people will say about me when they see me with you. I wouldn't like to lose the honor I've earned as squire to a nobleman.
Don't worry about what people say. They'll only strip you of your honor if you let them. So what then? Shall we take a nice little ride with my boys Snorter and Dragonfly here? Nice and early, at daybreak.
Let's get this over with then.
Didn't you understand me? We ain't going nowhere now. Like I said, be here at daybreak. That's between night and day. Do you understand?
Is there some place I can wait for morning to come?
Of course, if you've got nothing better to do, you can sit here with me. If you know how to read, I have a book hidden in the outhouse I got of a dead fella. That'll make the time go faster. In fact, you can keep it. All I can do is admire all them fancy squiggles in it anyway.
And where can I sleep?
At the inn in Truskowitz. Get a good breakfast there too. You'll need it to be at full strength. Here's a little something so you know I take care of my helpers. See you in the morning.
Hail Mary, pray for us, O Holy Mother of God, that we may be made worthy of the promises of God.
Good day.
Guten Tag.
Aye, of course.
Hail Mary.
Good morning.
Can I spend the night here?
Well, I don't know. This isn't an inn.
Just the one night's enough. All I need is to spend the night.
For a few groschen, there's some room on the hay.
Agreed. I'll pay. Here's some groschen for you.
Very well. Feel free to sleep on the hay. But don't go wandering around my home.
God be with you.
Good to see you.
God be with you.
Service is kind of slow today.
I should eat something.
Good day to you.
I wish you a pleasant morning.
I don't know if I'm completely ready for this, but let's get going.
The dew is still on the leaves. The roads are clear. You don't need your horse. I'll stable him here. It'll be heaven for him. In any case, heaven's always close here. Hop on the wagon and Snorter and Dragonfly here will take care of us. Did I bring that stuff for Visor? Meat? Pain? Aesop? Got it all. Good. Come on, then. Get a move on. We've got a long journey ahead of us, so get yourself comfortable so your arse won't hurt. So, you say you're from Lower Samine, eh?
Well, you could say that. I help the miller with whatever I can. I got a place to sleep there. Soon I'll be able to call the miller uncle.
I remember Crazel when he was still a wee lad. Even then he was a great big smart-ass. When I buried his parents, he was traipsing somewhere through the world. Maybe you heard what they say about Lower Samine round these parts. Crazel don't sell short measure, not that. He looks out for his reputation, but his helpers have been seen often in the villages after dark, looking fishy. Or during the day, in the pillories. Don't that bunny of yours belong to that gang too?
Unfortunately, she does. Crazel ordered Bonnie and her accomplice Zinnek to scrape saltpeter off the walls of the sties. And when they had a chance to loiter about in the yards here in the region, well, they made good use of the opportunity to line their purses.
Ay, ay, ay. What have I gotten myself into in my twilight years? Lower Samine's a thorn in the side for a lot of folk. Some on account of the competition. Some is just rubbed up the wrong way by that Crazel. Either way, all they need's the slightest excuse to grab their pitchforks. Go and grab the miller and shove his face right in his own millstone. Lazy bones. Whoa, boys, whoa! Come on. Come on! Are you deaf? Oh, they're acting stubborn again. Now listen, Henry. Here on the left side, you'll see the ruins of a cottage that's been abandoned for a few years.
I can't see a thing through those bushes.
You'll go and have a close look. Don't worry. I have a trap set inside the cottage. I wanted to lure a wolf into it, but that didn't work out. There's a deer rotting there unnecessarily. So hop in there and bring it to the wagon. Finally. At least we're not blocking the road too much.
Oh, Jesus, what a stench. Better quickly throw it in a sack and take it back to the wagon.
Look what I have for you.
Hey! I want to talk to you. Drop it and get over here.
What's going on, Ignatius?
Ah, I'm trying to explain to these fellas we've got nothing to do with no thieving around here. They should go to Lower Samine to complain.
2 stinking pieces of shit was sneaking around our sties and cellars and lining their purses with silver too while they was at it. Some scruffy and dunger. You must be scruffy, eh?
I'm Henry, and those, names mean nothing to me.
Like I said, if it's rotten carrion they're after, they should have come to me. A passion for knacking is the only thing we have in common.
Is that so? So prove it then.
Take a good look at me. Do I look like a thief? Or more like a commonplace, maybe just slightly grubby, hired hand? At this rate, you could blame any old peasant who's grimy after a hard day's work.
I don't know. I don't reckon I've ever seen a real thief up close.
Ask around about me and you'll find out everyone knows I can't stand a liar. I'll keep my promises and show up on time. So enough talk and let's carry on to where duty calls us.
All right, listen. We'll be going then. But if you happen to run into them 2 thieves, you tell us right away. Got it?
Of course.
You can count on it.
Glad to hear it. Let's go, fellas. Maybe...
Do you want to keep going or not?
Maybe it was the one with that shape.
Not much left for us to do here, eh?
Hopefully our luck will hold out, and we'll only be breaking the limbs of carcasses today. The next farm's just up ahead. Hop on, and let's go. Here we come, Snorter. Don't worry,